if your relationship is bad and you throw in some low self-esteem, a little anxiety, a really bad experience, your partner gaslighting you, how do you know whose fault the relationship is anyway? Hello, beautiful people. My name is Athol, and this is The Dateable Marriage. So, super common question. I get this essentially all the time, I think, in coaching calls, where the question is like, whose fault is this? Is it me? Is it them? Why are things bad? And it's a really, really common dilemma that people have, especially when they've been trying really hard to improve their relationship and make things better, and they're kind of running into a brick wall and getting no particular progress. There really is that question. Is it me? Should I keep trying? Do I double down? Do I just give them more time? Or am I just completely crazy and entitled and narcissistic for wanting this thing to be different or changed or whatever it is? So let me give you the basic tools that I use when I'm trying to answer that question. And it basically comes in three parts. The first part is all about you and you answering that question for yourself of what was it that you've done wrong in this relationship, and not only what were the things you were doing wrong, but why were you doing them wrong? Why did you think they were going to work? What were the mistakes you're making? What were the motivations behind it all? Because it's not often that people do horrible things to offend or hurt their partner from a truly malicious mindset. Usually it's through just some sort of confusion or cluelessness, or just they're not malice. It's the old line of never attribute to malice, which can be attributed to incompetence. The second thing is you want to do that same process for your partner. Okay, what were the actual actions and experiences and things that they said and did that really hurt or offended? What were the things they actually truly did wrong? And then what was their motivations behind that? Again, they're probably not malicious. They're probably not evil. They're probably just working from their own self-motivation and from their own understanding of what they're meant to do. And then having expressed all those things that are wrong or difficult or hurt, what did they actually do to try and improve things? How did they try and make changes? The third thing is slightly more subtle, and that is not just looking at you and them as individual people, but what was the pattern of interaction that brought you together in the first place? What was it about you that attracted you to them? What was it about them that attracted you to, did I say it back to front? What was it that attracted you to each other at the beginning? Because very often when we get into a relationship, especially if we're young, we have a mixture of really positive motivations and desires and interests, and we usually have some sort of secondary, slightly darker impulses along there where we're trying to get some childhood need met or whatever it is. So very often people are not perfectly whole or healthy when they get in a relationship, yet we find in each other's lack of wholeness some point of connection. And if you can figure out what those things were, very often it explains a great deal of the relationship, and especially as you try and change those roles later on. If you can see all that, usually you have a fairly grounded viewpoint on the relationship. And you probably have a fairly decent ability to make a judgment call on how much was your fault, how much was their fault. And understand the things I mentioned right at the very beginning. Things like your partner gaslighting you, always finding ways to try and blame you. Your low self-esteem or sort of a victim mindset or basic anxiety. These are all things designed to make you feel that the whole thing is your fault, and to encourage you, in a sense, to not take any particular action on fixing the relationship or improving it or leaving or whatever it is. Almost all of those emotions and that gaslighting thing is designed to get you to go back to how things were at the beginning of the relationship when you weren't quite so mentally healthy as you are now. Go back and do those things that I really liked back in the day. Don't be different. Don't be better. Don't be changed. Go back. Get back in your little box that I married you in. Stay there. Don't do anything different, because that's what I like and want from you. And those messages can come from your partner, and those messages can come from your anxiety and low self-esteem and just the history of abuse and neglect or whatever it is in your background. But like I say, I think if you can figure out that sort of big picture, this is what I did, this is what they did, this is how we interacted, I think you can have a fairly grounded viewpoint on whose fault it is. And obviously, I do the coaching thing. I'm very, very good at picking out what these things are. So, that's about it for today, and I will be back very soon.